This week we have measurements and significant figures. That's why the lab activities were around this task. But in the worksheet, everything was wrong for some of you. Then I think that I have to go over these things because from now on, all the activities that you're going to have are around measurements. In chemistry, measurements are so important. And if you don't know how to report the final answers, then you will lose points. Let's begin by how to measure using a ruler. In the first graph here, you can see that this ruler is in inches. From here you go from 0 to 1 and you have 1 inch, 2 inches. Okay, but what happened between 1, the 0 and the 1, you have in the middle 0.5 inches or half an inch. That is equal to 2/4. Then here in this line, you have 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. And in between, you have the eighth, 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8. And then let's try measuring this crayon. If you observe, it is for sure 3 inches and 3/4. 3 inches and 3/4. The match is only 2 inches. In centimeter is different. From 0 to 1, you have in between 10 lines. Every line represents 0.1 centimeter. Let's see. If you are going to measure this red line here, you can see that is 3 centimeters, 0.0 for sure, is certain, but it's a little more. Is between 3.0 and 3.1. Then you have to estimate the last digit. In this case, I will say 1, but you can say 2 because depends on the one that is doing the estimation. Then the answer for this line is 3.01. Every time you are using a ruler in centimeters, you have to report 2 digits after the dot. In this case, you have, for this line in inches, you have that it is for sure 1 inch and 1, 2, 3, 60 inch. 360 in. Then, if you convert this into a decimal, it is 1.1825 inches. When I asked you about the ratio, it was in order that you tell me, for example, the ratio between 2.45 centimeter and 1 inch is 2.45. That's the ratio. When you divide the numbers, then the ratio is unitless. Let's think about significant figures in addition and subtraction. Look at here. The least precise number is this. It has only one decimal. Then, in order to make it easy, you make a line. And you use your calculator and you obtain from the calculator this number. But you have to report until the 8th because correspond with the least precise number in your operation. As the first number you have to skip is higher than 5, you have to round up and then you add 1 to the 8. And the result is this. Then in this number, in this operation, you have to report the number of decimal that correspond to the least precise number. This is for addition and subtraction. In multiplication and division is different. For example, you are multiplying here this number and this number. This number has 3 significant figures, and this one has only 2 significant figures because the zeros to the left are not significant. You use your calculator and you obtain this big number. But how many significant figures you have to report? You have to report the number of significant figures that coincide with the number with least significant figures. In this case, 2. Then you have to skip the 4. As the 4 is lower than 5, you don't round up. Then this will happen also in division. You are dividing this big number with this small number. This has only 2 significant figures. Then you have to report in your answer 2 significant figures. Oh, you have to skip all these numbers, but the decimal point is here. So you have to fill these spaces with zeros. And this number has 2 significant figures because as you don't have a decimal point, these are trailing zeros, not significant. You can express the answer using this or you can use scientific notation this way. Let's continue. When you have multiplication and division and addition and subtraction, you have to follow the rules in math according with the order of the operations. In this case, you have to do first the parentheses. If there were not parentheses, you have to multiply or divide first and then add or subtract. Well, as we have here a subtraction into parentheses, this is the first operation. So you say 5.67 minus 2.3. And then you make a line through here. You do your operation and it is normal and it will be 3.37. But you have to skip this number. As it is bigger than 5, you are supposed to round up, but never round up in between. Only you make a line until the digit that you have to report. That it is shown here. And you keep all the numbers, but you know that it will have only 2 significant figures. Then you multiply and you get your answer as follows. You multiply 3.489 and you will have 12, because the resulting number is supposed to have only significant figures. This number has 2 significant figures. This has 4. Then you get the number with least significant figures in a multiplication or in division. Let's continue. Here you have a conversion factors. A certain human weighs 195 pounds. How much does this human weigh in kilograms? Then you go to a table and you notice that 0.5, sorry, 0.454 is a kilogram is equal to 1 pound. You use this as a conversion factor as you see here. You put pounds down in order to cancel with the given unit. And then you will obtain the wanted or the asked unit in the top of this factor. Then you multiply 195 by 0.454 and divide it by 1, and you get this big number. But what happened? That the given number has 3 significant figures. So the answer cannot be this big number. It must be until here. then your answer will be 88.5 kilograms with three significant figures. Always the given number and the asked number will have the same number of significant figures. It doesn't matter in this case the units or the significant figures in the conversion factor. Look at this. Here, I want you to go from 20 feet to meters. So you say, first of all, how many significant figures I have here in 20 feet? Oh, this is a trailing zero. There is no decimal point, and I have only one significant figure. You know that in 1 feet, there are 12 inches. And I put this way in such a way that I can cancel feet with feet. Later, you say, in 1 inch, I have 254 centimeters. And I put this way in order to cancel inches with inches. Then the answer is centimeter. But I want to convert this into meter. And I know that 100 centimeter is 1 meter. And then I answer centimeter with centimeter, and the answer will be in meters as I want. Then you multiply 20 by 12 by 2.54 by 1, and you divide it by 100, and you get in your calculator this big number. But is this the answer? No. The given number has only one significant figure, so your answer must have only one significant figure. Then your answer is 6. Since the first number you skip is lower than 5, you don't round up in this case. When you are reading graduated cylinders, you have first of all to see how much is every line. For example, here from 20 to 25, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. So every line is 1 milliliter. Then you see the meniscus, that is the lower part of this, and you observe that it's exactly at 3. 1, 2, 3. Then it is for sure 23. But is in this case is here, but it could be in between, and then you have to say 0.1, 0.2, whatever. So you have to put in this case that is sharp 23.0 milliliters. The unit is very important. In this case, the scale between 50 and 60 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines. So every line is how much? You say 60 minus 50 is 10 milliliters. And you have to divide this into 10 lines. Then every line is how much? Is 1 milliliter. Then for sure, you go here and you observe that your meniscus is at 2. But it's sharp at 2. No, it's a little more. then I can estimate that it is 0.7. Is for sure, it is certain that it's 52, but it's a little more. And then I estimate 7. Maybe I estimate 7, you estimate 6. It depends on who is doing the estimation, but you have to estimate the last digit. The last digit is always estimated. Same thing here. In this scale, you can see that between 10 and 15 is 5 milliliter. But you have, in this case, 10 lines. So every line represents 0.5 milliliter. You come here and you observe that it is 11 for sure, but it's a little more. It's 11.5 for sure. But if it were in between, you have to say 0.51, 0.52, whatever. So you have, in this case, that is sharp to put a 0 here. In this scale, you get a number with 4 significant figures. Then the number of significant figures in a measurement depends on the accuracy of the instrument. You have to understand how much is every line in order to give your answer. What happened in a scale? Oh, here you know that because of this, mass here is 100. Because of this is 60 grams. And then you come here and every number represents a gram. In this case is 7 grams. And then you say for sure that is 167 grams. But what happened if the scale were here? Well, you have to say 177.1. But suppose that was between 1 and 2, and then you have to say 167.15 grams. That's why, as you can estimate 2 digits after the dot, you have to put here 0, 0. And the number that you are going to report has how many significant figures? 5 significant figures. Since these 2 zeros are after a dot, you have to consider them as significant figures. In a thermometer, well, in a thermometer, it's the same thing with the scale. You can stop the video at any time and you can do the measurement here. You will see that it will be 72.0 Fahrenheit in this case, and in this scale will be 22.2 Celsius degree. If you have only this number, you want to convert this into centigrades, you have to use this formula. Then you will obtain a number like this. If the given number has 3 significant figures, your answer must have 3 significant figures 2. No more, no less. In the quiz you have that the unit of mass in this, the unit that is not a mass unit in this case was this. The square meter is a unit of what? Every time you see here a square, it's because it's area. If it is cubic, it's volume. That's why here for volume is cubic centimeter. Cubic means length per wide per height. 3 dimensions. Then this is volume. Here in area, you have only 2 dimensions, length and wide. This is area. That's why here is cubic and here is square. And of course, kilometer is a unit of length. As gram is mass, as second is time, as mole is amount of substance. Well, I think that now I have clarified everything about significant figures. But if you still have any doubt, just let me know and I can explain you more. Thank you. And remember, all the activities are in D2L. Every week you have all the activities you have to do and the due date. The homework is for Thursday. And the activities for the lab are due on Tuesday. Thank you very much. See you soon.